From the different Billy dolls to the pin doll. There are way too many creepy dolls featured in movies and TV that arguably could be scarier than the Annabelle doll. Here are your top 10 haunted dolls scarier than Annabelle. Coming up in our number 10 spot, we have the Trilogy of Terror doll. This doll is horrifying. This is a doll that was made for a TV horror movie called Trilogy of Terror from 1975 that was based off of the work of writer Richard Matheson. In this movie, there was a doll that was called the Zuni Warrior doll. It is also known as the doll called He Who Kills. In the movie, the doll is basically haunting the main character around her apartment. The doll is most known for its vampire sharp teeth. Lovely. So scary. In our number 9 spot, we have the Poltergeist Clown. This one is an evil clown doll. Is this the winner? I'm convinced that there's nothing scarier than a clown doll. This is a doll famously known from the 1980s movie Poltergeist. In the movie, the doll pops up in one of the scariest scenes where the film's ghost possesses the clown and makes him attack one of the characters named Robbie. Apparently, this scene from Poltergeist inspired director James Wan, who ended up producing Annabelle. It inspired him so much that he says it is what sent him down the path toward all things evil doll puppet related. Funny, the idea of a possessed clown doll makes me think that I'll never watch a movie like this ever again. Quite the opposite reaction. In our number 8 spot, we have Fats. Fats is the name of a very creepy wooden dummy doll that was basically the star of the movie Magic from 1978. The movie makers of this time were definitely going through some kind of weird doll phase. The movie centers around the character that Anthony Hopkins portrays, who is a ventriloquist who comes into fame and fortune when he appears on TV with the doll. Off air, the doll is of course psychotic and domineering and is driving Anthony's character Corky insane. It seems like quite the psychological thriller that is perfect for all of you psychological thriller lovers. Yep, that's all I've got. In our number 7 spot, we have the Molly Dolly. This one might not be as known, but if you were a fan of the 90s show Sabrina the Teenage Witch, then you will definitely remember this very creepy doll. This is a doll that was featured in the season 3 Halloween episode. The doll was called the Molly Dolly, and that's how it sounded. And this doll and its voice were terribly creepy. It was creepy because it looked so sweet. Like too sweet. Sweeter than all the other dolls on this list, and you thought, that's not a threat. But then of course, it changed and started to haunt the characters on the show, saying things like, "I'm gonna get you." My adult self is more afraid of this doll than my child self because this doll represents so many people in real life that appear kind, but it's really just a facade. In our number 6 spot, we have Billy from Dead Silence. This is a doll named Billy that was in another James Wan movie called Dead Silence. In this movie, Billy is one of the many dolls owned by the character Mary Shaw, who happens to be a ventriloquist, of course. I really would love to study the mind of a ventriloquist or a clown and get to the root of what makes them like this profession, because it's fascinating to me to wonder about. Maybe I'm just too heavily influenced by Hollywood, but they really do seem like the creepiest jobs. Is it just me? Anyways, Billy ends up being the key to Mary's power, and it's really just super creepy. Perfect if you want to get into the Halloween spirit though. In our number 5 spot, we have G.I. Joe Xtro. In the British cult classic Xtro from 1982, there is a G.I. Joe doll that becomes life-sized and goes after an elderly woman. This scene is ridiculously creepy, of course, with the doll's face being so glossy and him walking around the house in a doll-like manner, going after the poor old woman. It's sad and terrifying. Whoever wrote this scene definitely created it when they themselves played with their G.I. Joe doll as kids. Perhaps they were angry at their grandmother and they thought this scene up. That sounds like something a kid would do. In our number 4 spot, we have the Pin doll. The Pin doll is a super creepy, anatomically correct medical doll from the Canadian movie Pin from 1988. In this movie, Pin's owner believes him to be alive, even though we, the audience, know that it's all in his head. Pin is basically bare for so much of the movie, and you can see his muscles as he's a medical doll, and for anyone who just feels uncomfortable or queasy looking at anything without skin, this will be no exception. Anyways, this doll can walk, talk, and kill, and with its glossy face, it's just all around pretty scary to think about and look at. In our number 3 spot, we have Dolly Dearest. Dolly Dearest is a 1991 horror movie classic where, after a toy manufacturer buys the Dolly Dearest factory in Mexico, a possessed doll tries to control his daughter. The doll holds a very devil-like spirit, the spirit of Sanzia. This is every young person's biggest nightmare, although I must say I was way more worried about the monsters under my bed. But to imagine my baby dolls being possessed and trying to hurt me, it's just truly terrifying. The face that Molly has once she's possessed is pretty scary. Just looking at those big blue eyes that clearly show that evil is behind them just makes you want to run away and yell, "Mommy!" Only me? Probably. In our number 2 spot, we have Billy from Saw. Yeah, I watched one of the Saws and it was so scary and uncomfortable that I will never watch another. Although I'm a wimp most days, so there's that. But come on, Billy from Saw is terrifying. With his red eyes and spiral cheeks and light greeny gray skin and his suit with a red tie, he's just straight out of one of my childhood nightmares. That and the fact that he's a brutal killer too and plays with his prey. I really debated about putting this one first, but I think the first place one had to be a classic doll that everyone is scared of. Which brings me to our number 1 spot, Chucky. Of course. I mean, I feel like this one needs no explanation because it's one of Hollywood's most famous killer dolls. Starting off in a movie called Child's Play, Chucky was so popular that they ended up naming the rest of the movies in the series after him, which makes sense. Then people know what to look forward to. If you haven't watched Chucky or any of the movies with Chucky, all you really need to know is that he is a serial killer possessed doll, most notably known for his red hair. Hey, a redhead with no soul? Classic. Well, I guess technically he had a soul, but it was possessed? Wait, no, he was a doll. He was just plastic until he was possessed. That phrase still rings true. That's our creepy doll list for you. Comment below on which doll you think is the scariest. Curious to know your thoughts. I'm Melissa Melotti, your host. Follow me on Insta and YouTube at Melissa Melotti, and I'll see you next time. Please have a good day. Why does my arm always look so much, I'm awkward. I always look like this arm is a little bit higher. I don't know why. Let's do that.